of what's going on in crypto and news tech around the world, crypto and tech news around the world. What are the big stories that you need to know? We'll run through them. Just a short 20-minute show every single week where we bring you the latest in crypto and tech news from everywhere around the world. And I hope that you guys are ready for what we have going on. There's a lot going on in the world, so we're going to try and keep it short and keep it sweet for you. What's been happening around the world? Let's have a look. We'll dive in right away and get going with what is happening. There's a couple of things to get through. We're going to start with tech right here. So let's have a look at the big one that happened over the weekend. You may have seen that the US government has pulled the plug on Fable. Yes, that was the new model by Anthropic. Claude had launched a brand new model called Fable, and apparently it was devastating. Devastating in the way that is scary. It could do everything at the click of a button, although I'm sure it used a whole bunch of tokens and used up all of your allocation in a matter of minutes. But the reality is it could do stuff at the click of a button that would blow minds. It blew so many minds that it actually caused the US government to shut it down. That's right. They ordered Anthropic to shut it down entirely for every user outside of the US. And a couple of hours later, you couldn't even access it via VPN. So a couple of people tried to get in using a VPN in the US. Wherever they were in the world, they would set their location to the US and they could get in and access Fable, but that was disabled as well. Don't know how they got through all of the IP addresses, but the reality is they did. And it is quite a thing for those using Claude. And the reason being, it was because of security concerns. The Commerce Secretary in the US, Howard Lutnick, ordered the suspension. He said that it was a national security concern and reported a jailbreak exploit as well. So that is very concerning if you are involved in AI and technology. Of course, if you are involved in IT, that's going to concern you. And especially in crypto as well, DeFi protocols around the world are already feeling the effects of AI being able to pick up vulnerabilities in DeFi protocols. So can you imagine if Fable got hold of these DeFi protocols? So DeFi apps and protocols are going to need to dig deep and close up security fast. Anthropic said they can't filter foreign users in real time, so they shut both models down for everyone globally. It's the first time that a government has forced a major AI company to pull a live public model offline. That is a big deal. And Anthropic did comply straight away, but they pushed back hard. That's the news that we got, warning that if a narrow potential jailbreak triggers a full recall, it would essentially halt all new model deployments across the entire AI industry. So that is pretty concerning. Now, why this matters for us in technology is because it's a landmark moment for governance in artificial intelligence. Governments can now effectively override AI companies in real time. It raises urgent questions for all of us and for those who control the frontiers of AI. What does it mean for innovation, global access, and the future of AI regulation worldwide? So we're going to be watching this very, very carefully, keeping an eye on things because this is huge. I think not only is it big for regulation, not only is it big for why this is such a significant regulatory moment, but it's big because it shows how powerful Fable was or Fable is. That's the scary thing. Fable is extremely powerful, and I think a lot of us now are kind of holding our breath, looking at what is to come. What does the future hold for us in this new world of AI? Because Fable clearly has the biggest government in the world scared. I think that should make us scared too. Right, next in technology, everyone knows about it, but let's just dig into some of the details. SpaceX went public, the biggest IPO in history, and it made Musk the world's first trillionaire. That's right. We have been talking about billionaires for the last 35 years. Now we're talking about trillionaires. That is the wealth of Elon Musk. But let's have a look at the details here. SpaceX raised $75 billion, which is triple Saudi Aramco's 2019 IPO, pricing at $135 a share under the ticker SPCX on the NASDAQ. It was interesting that they chose the NASDAQ as opposed to the New York Stock Exchange, but of course NASDAQ is famous for its tech IPOs, and I think SpaceX technically is a technology company, so it made sense they chose the NASDAQ over the New York Stock Exchange. And it surged 20% on its debut day to close around $161 per share. So if you got in, well done to you, 20% in a single day. I have seen people speculating that this is going to hit a good 20x in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not saying not financial advice. That is what I do want to reiterate. This is not financial advice, so please take that into consideration. Now, the listing values SpaceX at over $2 trillion, and it's the 6th largest publicly traded company in the US, and it pushes Elon Musk's net worth, as we said, to $1.2 trillion, and it makes him the first trillionaire. Retail demand was so overwhelming that Robinhood, of course, the trading app, Robinhood suffered outages, and the IPO is expected to be the first of 3 mega listings this year, because we have OpenAI and Anthropic to come this year. So if you aren't on Robinhood, might be time to get in or look at a crypto platform that offers tokenized stocks, because this could be huge for IPOs this year. And that is something that Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy has said. A lot of money is flowing out of crypto to make companies liquid in preparation for these big IPOs. So that is interesting for the crypto markets. Now, this is important for the tech industry because SpaceX, of course, basically is reshaping how Wall Street values the convergence of aerospace, satellite internet, and of course AI as well, because SpaceX are involved in providing AI compute through their space satellites, of course, Starlink. So that's pretty interesting. It also signals a new wave of trillion-dollar tech listings, because Apple, Nvidia, a couple of others that are trillion-dollar companies now didn't launch as trillion-dollar companies. So this is the first company to ever launch as a trillion-dollar company. So it signals a new wave of these kind of companies that will define capital markets for the next decade. So this is a big milestone. All right, guys, let's move on to crypto. What's the biggest news in crypto over the last couple of days? The first one is this. If you follow Uncharted, this was big news that came out. It is a huge Web3 game. People love this game. Fishing Frenzy has shut down. Uncharted decided to close Fishing Frenzy. The team behind the on-chain fishing RPG, Fishing Frenzy, built the Ronin blockchain with over 500,000 players, apparently, and they shut it down and pulled the plug. This was their flagship title. Now, the game had ambitions to blend Stardew Valley-style gameplay with a player-driven crypto economy featuring NFT rods, a dual token system, Fish and Xfish, and they had a TGE planned this year, but they couldn't overcome the structural headwinds facing Web3 gaming, which is very important for those of us in Web3. The closure reflects a broader crisis in crypto gaming, with studios struggling to attract players beyond the crypto native audience. That's always the challenge, isn't it? How do you go beyond Web3 and break into the gaming industry outside of that bubble? So retail and institutional investors pulled back following an underwhelming return from earlier projects. Very sad news, I think, for Uncharted and Web3 gaming in particular. There are over 52 games already shut down this year alone, guys. That is pretty sad when you think about it. And the closure is another signal that the Web3 gaming model remains unproven. That's the reality. At scale, of course. At scale, the Web3 gaming model is unproven, and it raises serious questions about whether play to earn can survive and what the next chapter for blockchain gaming is going to look like. I think that's really important as we consider how do we go beyond that Web3 bubble. Because if we're honest with ourselves, Web3 is for those that are in the space already. How do we get outside of it? And that's what people in Web3 need to be thinking about. And finally, wrapping up the show today, the news that you need to know, wrapping up all of it really, but in particular crypto news as well. Bitcoin broke through $65,500 over the last 48 hours. It's dipped a little bit, but is still on a leg up. And this is because the US-Iran peace deal has reopened the Strait of Hormuz. That's big news. Of course, for everyone involved in energy, and those of us who rely on oil, which is most of us. We need oil everywhere across the supply chain. But President Trump declared the US-Iran deal complete on the 14th of June, that is yesterday, and he immediately authorized the toll-free reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway, of course, that handles roughly 20% of global oil and LNG shipments, and it sent Bitcoin past $65.5 thousand, which is interesting because apparently it moved up a bit when it was shut down because there were a couple of payments being made in Bitcoin between some of the shipping operators and Iran. So I do find it interesting. The deal, it was formalized through the Islamabad Declaration, Pakistan as a mediator, and it was 100 days of military conflict, which of course wiped out 246 million in crypto short positions, this pump, and it dropped oil prices over 3% as supply disruption fears eased. As I say, good news for those who rely on oil. During the conflict, of course, Iran charged $2 million per vessel in crypto to transit the strait, a real-world stress test that reinforced the narrative of digital assets as tools of statecraft under sanctions pressure. Now, why does this matter to all of us? Well, I think Bitcoin's sensitivity to this geopolitical trigger proved that crypto is now deeply woven into global macro markets. And when major conflicts resolve, Bitcoin moves. And that is a fundamentally different asset story than it was even 3 years ago. So that is what you guys need to know over the last 48 hours. We'll run through them again. The US government pulled the plug on Anthropic's Fable right after they launched. SpaceX went public in the biggest IPO in history, with Musk becoming the world's first trillionaire. Web3 gaming fishing frenzy shut down as Uncharted closes its doors. And Bitcoin broke $65.5 thousand as the US-Iran peace deal reopened the Strait of Hormuz. That's what you guys need to know this week. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week across all of our channels. Kernel Media, our primary overarching holding company. Kernel Tech News, follow us on all of these outlets. Kernel Tech News, Global Crypto TV as well, and Kernel Media Co. as well. Please make sure you're following us. We are on YouTube as well. We'll get our Kernel Tech News channel up and running very, very shortly. But Global Crypto TV's YouTube channel has hosted this live stream as well. And we are very, very much appreciative of everyone that tuned in. Quick shout out to everybody that tuned in and said, hey. I want to say a quick shout out to Sniper. What's up, my friend? Sniper, my friend. Gregor Michelle, what's up to you? K5, not financial advice. Very, very important indeed. Yes, sirree. Who else did we have there? Superheroes, my friend. Web3 says, this is so great, James. Thank you, sir. This is the first show, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Super Saiyans. LFG, baby. LFG Super Saiyans. Big shout out to you, my friend. And that wraps up the show. That's everybody who tuned in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of Kernel Media's first ever weekly live stream, wrapping up the biggest news in crypto and tech. We will have more stories for you every week. We want to keep the show nice and short and sweet for you, 20 minutes. Keep to it so that you know that it's not going to be a long, drawn-out thing. You can tune in, check what's going down, and then log out. We were 15 minutes today because we only had 4 stories. We'll try and have a couple more next week, and we'll see you then, same time, same place. 1:30 p.m. UTC, that's 3:30 p.m. Central European Time, And of course, get your times wherever you may be in the world based on that UTC time, 1:30 p.m. Until next time, this is James Preston for Kernel Media signing out.